Hi, my name is Randy Kaforey. Odds are that close to 50% of you know someone personally that has committed suicide. More than likely, it came as a total bombshell. The news so disturbing you couldn't believe it at first, thinking there was no way that he or she killed themselves. Well, I was one of those people. A few years ago, my oldest brother Tony committed suicide. Not only did it come out of nowhere, but it left our family both emotionally and financially devastated. It's not something you really ever think about until it has affected you personally. Tony was a good man. He made a dreadful decision. He was so funny, he had the memory like an elephant, and had the incredible ability to write, making the words almost sing. He was a huge sports fan, but he was a Pittsburgh Penguin fanatic. So when Tony killed himself, the family decided to donate money to the Mario Lemieux Foundation. Myself, I decided to raise money for a one-time scholarship. In 2014, there were 42,000 recorded suicides in the United States. In 2017, that number jumped to 47,000. On average, adjusted for age, the annual U.S. suicide rate increased 33% between the years 2000 and 2014. In 2018, Americans killed themselves at a rate of 132 every day. Think about that for a second. One father, mother, brother, sister, neighbor, friend, teacher, co-worker committed suicide every 5.5 minutes. Unfortunately, the ages of 18 to 25 bleeding and suffering the most. In Ohio, a kid was getting bullied at school. The school camera showed a video of this young man lying unconscious to the entrance of the bathroom, while other kids are seen walking by and kicking him. Unfortunately, not surprisingly, just 2 days later, that young man killed himself. He wasn't a young man though. He was 8 years old. I have grandchildren that are older than that. And sadly, these stories are becoming more common. What I have found is that most parents, grandparents are not prepared for and cannot afford the expense that a suicide brings on a family, especially if it was the parent that took their own life. With the cost of the memorial service, casket, grave plot, and headstone, it can easily cost anywhere between $9,000 and $15,000. With the funeral cost as well as the loss of income, imagine you also have a child that is planning on starting or is already in college. How can all these bills get paid? Unfortunately, for most families, they can't. And sadly, what ends up happening is the student will have to skip a year of college. Incredibly, almost 3% of all students who take a year off never end up starting or returning to college. I know that 3% sounds like a small number, but in 2018, there were 19.6 million college students in the United States. When Tony killed himself, I was so pissed off at him. This lasted for almost 2 years until something out of the blue happened. I started suffering panic attacks, but not your average panic attack. Some of mine lasted as long as 3 hours. During one of my major attacks, I begged my wife for a gun or a knife, even the keys to the car so I could drive it straight into a tree. I was convinced I was going to feel this way for the rest of my life, and I would have done anything to not feel like that anymore. After this attack, I wasn't mad at Tony anymore, because I now understood him. I didn't and don't agree with what Tony did, but I now understood how powerful your mind can be. Tony didn't have a wife or anyone there to reason with him. I'm wondering if Tony suffered a severe panic attack like I did. After that, I decided not to do a one-time scholarship. I decided to start a nonprofit so people like you who donate can feel comfortable making their donation, that it will be used towards scholarships and not my own pocket, to help relieve some of the added financial burden caused by the suicide of an immediate family member. So, the Tony Kaforey Suicide Survivor Scholar Corporation was born. This is how it will work. Every student that meets the criteria will write an essay about themselves, a brief history of growing up, their family, schooling, and what their dreams and desires are for their future, where they are going or desire to go to college, and why they chose that college. They will also tell us about the family member who committed suicide and who they were to them, and how they and their suicide has impacted their life. My goal is to raise enough money so I can award scholarships to 10 to 20 students who would normally have to wait at least a year. With the average cost of college for the 2017-2018 school year at $20,000 for public schools, if you live in state, and almost $47,000 and even more for some private schools. Of course, being an American, I dream big. I also know that we care about not just family members and friends, but our fellow Americans. It also means that you are kind, generous, and empathetic. The scholarships will be awarded in a review process by its board members. All submitted applicant letters will be read and narrowed down to the top essays. Depending on how much money is donated will determine the financial amount for each scholarship. Suicide is a family tragedy that leaves a terrible emotional and financial strain for many, many years. And what's sad is there's going to be too many students who qualify for this scholarship that will never even know it's out there for them. They, as the saying implies, falling through the cracks. Well, I need your help to fill those cracks. You can help us in an important way by sharing this with everyone you know, and of course with your financial donation. Your donations are going to help students go to college when they thought those dreams were gone. It's why my company motto is, we keep your dreams alive. I mean, what can be better than that?